Welcome back. This time we're talking about A Quiet Place, directed, co-written, and starring John Krasinski, who is on screen with his real-life wife Emily Blunt as they play a husband and wife who are trying to protect their children in a world beset by these creatures who hunt by sound. Now, I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of horror. It's just not a genre that I gravitate to when I go to see movies. But my friend Sarah, who is my frequent movie watching partner, really wanted to see this movie, and I told her I'd go see it as long as I didn't have to go by myself. So we set out to watch this movie, and we both left having enjoyed it pretty good. It is not an in-your-face, jump-scare-filled movie, and for that, frankly, I'm glad. I'm more interested in films that take time to set up a world of tension and dread, and that is something that this film does really, really well, as it plays with our expectations when it comes to sound. Where I think we both agree the film falls a little short on is the character development, and really just getting us to care about these individual characters, so it matters if they live or die. And that's probably the biggest flaw of this film that otherwise I really enjoyed. As I mentioned before, Krasinski and Blunt play this couple who are trying to protect their children, who include a deaf daughter played by Millicent Simmonds, who was a standout in the Amazon Studios film Wonderstruck. And here her brother is played by Noah Jupe, who played the best friend in Wonder. And really the acting across the board is very solid in this movie. It's a very small cast. So if there were any weak links, it would be very obvious. And fortunately, Krasinski gets some great performances from his castmates, as well as himself. Where this film really shines is just this world that is created, where these creatures, whose origins are never truly explained, hunt solely by sound. They are blind. And what they do with sound, there's so much silence in this movie as you would expect, but they play it off so well. So when there is sound, it's jarring and just feels out of place. There's a moment, I won't spoil it, but there's a point where a couple characters actually have the option to talk. And hearing them talk rather than use sign language as they do through the rest of the film just felt almost unnatural. And I give credit to Krasinski for creating this situation where them signing and having to be quiet is the new normal. I'll say this is not a film that you want to be eating a bunch of candy through in a plastic wrapper, because this film is very, very quiet, and your ears begin to boost their signal, so you hear every little movement, and it's like no one wants to be that person who makes a noise, because like I said, you buy into this world, and you're afraid you might get killed if you talk. Story-wise, there's a few inconsistencies as we get into the third act. Nothing major, just where a character really shouldn't have known that another character was in a particular location and goes there, when that was probably not the most obvious place to go. But beyond that, story-wise, this was very solid. It is a little predictable in the end. When you have so few characters, there's only so many combinations of how it's going to ultimately play out. But that didn't really bother me either. Like I said, my biggest issue with this film is just they really didn't give us enough about this family. We got some basics, and how they were kind of interacting with each other because of something that happens early on in the movie. And that's really my other real big complaint with this, is like there's something that happens early on in this film, and the trailers completely spoiled it. I go to enough movies that I've seen the trailer for this film quite a few times, so it was in no way a surprise when that happened. And I wish it had been. I think it would have really helped set the mood earlier, quicker, if I hadn't known what was going to happen. So overall, this is a film that if you like horror films without all the jump scares, and is more about setting a world of dread, I'll call it, then this is a film that I think you're going to really enjoy. If you're more interested in just being scared so you jump every 5-10 minutes, this isn't going to deliver that. But as a non-horror fan, this is the kind of horror film that I enjoy more so than your typical jump scare fest. So hopefully that gives you an idea if this is a movie that you're interested in. If you have seen A Quiet Place, what did you think about it? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some other reviews, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.